When you're in the world of international trade, making that big sale is really only half the story. The other half, the part that really matters, is making sure you get paid. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through the essential ways you can get paid, from the most risky to the most secure, so you can trade globally with confidence. Let's get right into it.
So picture this. You've just landed your first big export order. It feels amazing, right? All that hard work, the negotiations, it's all paid off. You're probably thinking, great, the hard part is over. But is it? Really?
Well, not quite. This is where it gets tricky. Because now you're facing what is, without a doubt, the most important question in the whole deal. How are you actually going to get paid by a customer who might be thousands of miles away? Okay, so let's start with the simplest methods. These are built completely on the relationship, on the trust between you and your buyer, and they represent the two absolute extremes when it comes to risk.
On one side, you have the exporter's dream, payment in advance. That's exactly what it sounds like. The buyer pays you before the goods even leave your site. For you, there's zero risk. It's all on the buyer. Now, on the complete opposite end, you have what's called an open account. Here, you ship the goods, you send an invoice, and you hope for the best. You're trusting them to pay later. As you can guess, you carry all the risk. And you'd only do this with a partner you've known for years and trust completely.
Right, so what happens when you're not quite comfortable just sending an invoice and hoping, but your buyer isn't willing to pay for everything up front? There has to be a middle ground, doesn't there? Well, there is, and this is where the banks step in to act as a kind of trusted third party.
This middle ground is often called a documentary bill. The idea here is pretty clever. Instead of you sending the important shipping documents directly to the buyer, and remember, whoever holds these documents can claim the goods, you send them through your bank. Your bank then works with the buyer's bank to control when those documents are handed over. Now, this is where it gets interesting, because there are two key ways this can work. The first is called Documents Against Payment, or DP. With this one, the buyer's bank will only release those all-important documents once the buyer pays in full, right on the spot. It's quite secure for you. But then there's Documents Against Acceptance, or DA. In this case, the buyer gets the documents just by promising to pay later, maybe in 90 days. The huge difference? They get your goods before you get your money, which is obviously a lot riskier for you. And that really gets to the core weakness of these methods. I mean, even with the safer D/P option, what if the buyer just decides not to pay? They can simply refuse to collect the documents, and now your goods are stuck in a foreign port. And with DA, the risk is even clearer. What if they just don't pay when the bill is due? These are very real risks you have to consider.
So, to get rid of almost all of that commercial and country risk, we need to bring out the most powerful tool in the world of international trade finance. This is really considered the safest bet an exporter can make.
It's called a letter of credit, or an LC, and the basic idea is a total game changer. It's no longer the buyer who's promising to pay you, it's their bank. The bank issues a formal, binding promise that you will be paid as long as you follow all the instructions and present the exact documents they ask for.
Let's just quickly trace how this works. Your buyer goes to their bank, the issuing bank, and asks them to open an LC in your name. That bank sends the details to a bank in your country, the advising bank. Your bank lets you know it's all set up. You then ship the goods, gather up all the documents, present them to your bank, and if everything is perfect, you get paid. The bank's credibility has literally replaced the buyer's.
Now, it's really important to know that not all LCs are the same. A revocable LC is one you want to avoid. It can be canceled without your permission. You should always insist on an irrevocable one. But for the highest level of security, you want what's called a confirmed LC. This is huge. It means your own bank adds its guarantee on top of the foreign banks. This protects you from foreign bank risk, political risk, everything. A confirmed, irrevocable letter of credit is the gold standard.
Let's just pause on this for a second, because it's the most important thing to understand. The credit of the issuing bank is substituted for that of the buyer. Your risk is no longer tied to your customer's honesty or their bank balance. It's now tied to the stability of their bank. That is a fundamental shift in security.
So, you've gotten your buyer to agree to an LC. That is a huge win. But your job isn't done yet. With letters of credit, the details are absolutely everything. You have to treat it like the strictest contract you've ever seen, where you must follow every instruction perfectly. Here is your must-do checklist. First, always make sure the LC is genuine by having it advised through a bank here in India. Second, the moment you get it, read every single word.
Can you realistically meet that shipping deadline? Can you get that specific inspection certificate? If anything looks off, you have to ask for an amendment immediately. And finally, and please listen to this, in the world of LCs, there is no such thing as a minor mistake. A tiny typo is a major discrepancy, and it can be used as a reason to refuse payment. Perfection is the only option.
So let's just bring it all together. This chart gives you a really clear summary of your options, mapping everything against your level of risk. At the top, payment in advance, 0 risk. At the bottom, open account, very high risk. The documentary bills, D/P and D/A, they sit there in the middle. But down at the very bottom, offering the lowest possible risk, is that confirmed, irrevocable letter of credit. That's your best friend for high-value deals or when you're working in new markets.
So, the next time you're securing a global deal, which payment term will you choose? Remember, this isn't just an administrative detail. It's a strategic business decision that protects your company's cash flow. By understanding these options, you can negotiate better, reduce your risk, and truly export with confidence.